All right, welcome to the Casual Nerdcast. I'm your host, Justin. Joining me with tonight, Andrew,
Hello.
Amel,
Andrew's boring. I've got a cat who I'm currently choke holding. It's not my
Oh
intention.
no.
Okay, that's all I
and
got.
Evan is currently looking for Master Yoda in Dagobah. So joining us for us again this evening, our emergency correspondent, Uraz,
Our semi full timer, more like he's been on like
steadily,
four so far.
steadily. So tonight, just as a brief overview, we'll be talking a huge chunk about Destiny. People are apparently getting free games, claiming to be famous YouTubers, and EA promising that Hardline's not gonna flop as hard as Battlefield 4 or any other previous EA
Not gonna
titles that have
suck,
flopped.
basically.
Well,
Although,
it's the issue is whether or not it was gonna
The
work.
guarantee isn't even
Right,
this
right.
game's not going to suck. The guarantee is it will work. Anyways, yeah.
All right. Well, anyways,
Start.
before we can get into that later, let's start off with Destiny. So recently, there was journalist. I have no clue. You're literally like this is the first time I've ever heard of him. So his name is Danny. I don't know what his full name is. I do not see it. I apologize, Danny from GameSpot, who has a TV show called The Point. He
Actually,
basically makes a correlation between how Destiny and the reviews are and the numbers are, and basically how that correlates to reviewers and aging gamers. If I remember correctly, Andrew, feel free to kick in any time moment because you just watched this just now.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, because I watched this about maybe a week or two ago, Destiny was given a surprising reception, I guess you can call it, with respects from the reviewers. It averages at about 80, 85, something along those lines, and where a lot of people thought it was worth a lot more. And a lot of review critics seem to see that as like, oh yeah, the viewers these days, they're very specific. They have like very unique tastes. They can't appreciate anything AAA anymore because it's so like their tastes are so fine, and those kind of people. That's what the reviewers have basically become. And Danny, I apologize for not knowing your last name. Danny makes the correlation that most of these reviewers, there are a certain demographic which are basically aging gamers, and his argument is that they're basically not as impressed with the games that they're seeing nowadays. Basically because the innovation isn't there anymore. Because back in, was it 97, 98 you said, Andrew?
1998.
Yeah, the list of games that were being released that day, you can list a few.
I was watching. It was like 1998 was a great year. That year, Ocarina of Time came out. StarCraft
That year.
came out. Like so many groundbreaking, like games came out that year. It's quite amazing, quite frankly.
Yeah. So like, and it's without saying, it's like there's the gap between like the 80s to 98, and then 98 to about 2005 and 6 is when we started getting like the higher quality, more innovative games from the 360 and PS3 and stuff like that. And then now we've kind of moved on to our current generation. We seem to be just kind of getting more of the same, not necessarily the innovation that we were kind of seeking from this generation. And that's kind of the reason why Destiny's received the score that it has. That's not to say that people don't like the game. A lot of people like the game. It's just that the score is relatively low with respects to the I guess the general perception of it. So,
Here.
what do you guys think about that argument?
Evan's not here, so I can say this with impunity. It's no Last of Us, right? Because that was like,
Yeah.
from what I've read and from the bits Andrew tells me, it was a genre-defining game. Sorry, it was like a generation-defining game.
Yeah.
When Evan's not around, let's just talk about how amazing The Last of Us
I was like,
is.
he's not around to refute me, and Andrew's agreeing with me, and I
Yeah.
haven't played it.
I haven't
so-
played it. I don't. Uraz, have you played it?
Nope.
All right, so Amel and Andrew
It's the
can
best
fly
game in the
freely.
world. Yeah. No, but like I think
Andrew may be a little bit biased. Sorry, I was simply just saying that it's not. It doesn't have a genre-defining game like that yet, or a generation-defining game for that console. So Destiny isn't it. It's another team-based shooter, a really good one at that. But it's another team-based shooter. Is that what I'm getting out of you, Justin?
Not me.
Sorry.
The reviewers.
yeah.
I don't have a right to criticize Destiny yet. I have not
Not
played the
yet.
game.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's
I've played it a bit.
yeah.
So these guys' words are worth more than mine. I haven't played it either. Continue, Andrew.
So Andrew, Uraz, what do you guys think?
So okay, so yeah, I've played it a bit for the past few days. I just got it, and it reminded me of, it's very repetitive. It's like they said, maybe because it's the early stages of the game where it's kind of a grind. You know, you're just leveling up, getting items, getting stronger, trying to get to the end game. Apparently, it's more fun once you get to the level cap, doing raids and stuff. I haven't got there so far, so it kind of, in that sense, it reminds me of WoW, where the game was actually not that fun because of the grind. Once you got to the max level and once you got to the end game, it was a lot of fun. So I'm at that stage where I'm not finding it very fun, and obviously the storyline is it's non-existent really. It's pretty crappy, very fragmented so far. But I've only seen the beginning. But yeah, that's my sense of it. And you know, to be honest, I was more blown away with Titanfall when it came out because A, wall jumping, B, Titans.
Hell yeah.
So like when that game came out, I was literally felt like I was 10 years old again, playing freaking Counter-Strike or whatever whenever that came out. You know, where your mind's blown. Obviously, after a little while, it got repetitive, but I didn't get that feeling from Destiny. At least not initially.
When you talk about Titanfall, I feel like the biggest hypocrite in existence. I remember E3 2013. I saw this game. I'm like, okay, it's COD. I get it. Okay, it's basically COD with Mech Warrior or Hawken. Like I get it.
That's what I thought too.
Like, and then I'm just like, okay, I get it. Like you added like a single player experience into it. Well, I get it. Like I don't get it. And then like I literally have like the most crappiest attitude towards the game. I'm just like, okay, the beta. All right, let's figure this out. Let's see if this is actually worth it. 20 hours later, and I'm just like, oh, I need to keep playing.
Yeah, more time in the game. I think that pretty much all of us combined. No.
All of you three?
I'm 0.
Probably.
Oh,
easily you.
Oh,
three.
sorry, I forgot Anthony had it.
Easily
Maybe
you
me,
three.
Uraz, and Alex.
No, Alex and I are pretty on par.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
If
Okay, fair.
not, I got like 10 hours more than him at best.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But yeah, like going back to Destiny, that's kind of like because people have been comparing it to Titanfall a lot because Titanfall was a game that was like a huge AAA. Just in terms of like AAA thing, except that they're kind of like reverse, where it had like really good reviews, but it sort of community sort of fell off, whereas Destiny sort of had mediocre reviews, but the community seems to still be there, like 4 weeks out, and like I agree with a lot of what you said about it. It's like there's nothing. I think part of the reason why the reviews are so low isn't just because they're not impressed. It's just there's very little like new. So like Titanfall had like these titans and like this traversal that first-person shooters never really had before. While
Exactly.
Destiny is just like a really polished first-person shooter, but it's not like new. But oddly enough, this is how a lot of people say. I've heard people say, and I felt as well. Like for a good solid 2-3 weeks, anytime I came home, Destiny was the only thing I wanted to play.
Oh.
But I completely agree with like 7.5 because there's not much to do. Yeah, like the story, like it starts off really cool. He like raises you from the dead, and then it's just like, well, not going to make any more sense after this.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
Yeah.
I agree with that too, and also to add on to that was like Titanfall was blow your mind at the beginning. Oh, it's so fun,
mhm.
really awesome, it's new, and if you think about the reviewers don't play a game for too long before they review it.
Yeah.
So Titanfall got really good reviews initially when it was really hyped up and it came out and it was fun. but then it got repetitive, so that's why it kind of fell off. Whereas with Destiny, it's starting slow, and all the reviewers who started playing it probably didn't play it to the end game because they probably got bored of it before then.
Well, not
But
only
from
that,
yeah,
not
and
only
from
that, I
what
was
I've
gonna
seen
add a
from
point
Twitch
that like,
streams,
oops, sorry.
I haven't got to the end game, but I watch a lot of Twitch streams of the end game rating. It looks really intense and really fun, and that's one thing that motivates me towards for playing the game for grinding is to get to that end game, and that's kind of like an MMO sense to the game, even though it's not really an MMO, but you're grinding for the end game.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like a lot of the times, reviewers have like stack of games that they have to go through, and if it's kind of a disadvantage for games that start slow, because once you start slow, then the reviewers who are reviewing it, they start slowly into the game, and that's never a good sign usually, because then they're in a bad mood or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's just like the reviewers have a much different mindset than the player. That's generally the problem. And actually, I think that actually makes a pretty good segue into our next topic. So basically, there was a contract drafted by Activision that was literally found during the Call of Duty lawsuit that says that Destiny may actually lose up to $2.5 million because of the contract originally said that Destiny will actually get a bonus of some kind, or actually it might, I don't know if it's a bonus or if it just cuts even if the game doesn't do above 90.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a pretty common practice like in publisher developer relationships though. Like
Yeah, it
you
is.
get bonuses based on Metacritic scores.
Right. Yeah. And I'm the only thing I really know about is from a little indie game called Game Dev Tycoon that illustrates this very nicely. Is when you turn to publishers to kind of get your game to be sold, you're often told that okay, your game has to meet a certain standard. We're gonna give you this. We're gonna help you out. Help you get your game out there, but you have to basically meet the standard, or else you're gonna get punished for it. But I mean, like that's the problem though. Like Destiny is, for the most part, probably gonna be a much better game than Titanfall in the long run, because a lot of people are not even starting to play Titanfall anymore. So
Yeah.
it's arguable. It's like we've had this discussion before with reviews, basically saying that it's never as clear cut as one defined number that illustrates everything about the game, but at the same time a mechanism as such kind of needs to exist for publishers in order to kind of say to measure, I guess, a form of success. Because I guess it's also really hard to kind of say like game sales as well, because if you hype a game enough, people will pre-order it, buy it, but once you've bought it, it's it's already gone. The money's already gone from the consumer. They've already made that money. It's up to the game developers or the to basically say, here, we're gonna keep feeding you good stuff. For all we know, some game developers could have like, super hype marketing advertisements, but then end up releasing the most crappiest game known to existence. The Bureau. Anyway, so
I smell a little resentment there, Justin.
I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't even buy the game on launch though.
Oh, did you? Okay.
I didn't buy the game at launch though. I was this close. It was also the same day that Blacklist and Saints Row 4 were coming out, and I picked those two over the Bureau. I couldn't afford the Bureau.
Good decision.
I know. That was good. That was very lucky of me.
Anyway, please continue.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think about this whole like system in place with regards? I mean, like I know like it's probably been a system that's been in existence for so long, but do you guys think that this is a fair measure to a game's success?
No, not at all. I think it's complete crap. Like, I kind of understand on paper how it made sense, but like you wouldn't really. Success isn't critical success, although that's important to like your creative, like the creators on the creative side. really success is how much it makes. Like, I think if you're going to want to motivate someone by like having a sort of a bonus or something, it should be like sales percentage, even if it's only like 0.001% up to a certain maximum. Like you don't see, like, I don't know about, like, in the film industry, it's not like, oh, Steven Spielberg, if all these critics give it, if you get an average 3.5 stars, like, you'll get an extra, like Leonardo DiCaprio, if Wolf on Wall Street gets X amount of stars, like, you'll get an extra 200,000. Like, that doesn't really happen in other industries, and it's kind of disingenuous, I think.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
And my input, actually, it was what, 2.5 mil, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is 2.5 mil really that much in the grand scheme of things? It's like, this is the most pre-ordered game. I'm sure they made several hundred million off it.
You know,
I don't know about the
I'm
developer's cut, though. Like, I know, like, Activision publisher. I'm not sure.
I don't know how much. I'm sure they're getting a percentage of that, not a fixed amount.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'm guessing that the 2.5 million is just maybe a small incentive, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't really understand what the point of that is. It doesn't, for small publishers, for indie games. Okay, yeah, that's a huge deal. But for big AAA titles, it doesn't really make any sense to me. And what should motivate the publisher more is to have a good game. They want to please the gamers, not make the money. Even though obviously they got to do that. They got to do both.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's why they have these publishing deals, is to basically kind of make the developer more encouraged to make a good game, because there are some developers who do it for the gamers, but there are going to be some people who are doing it just for the money, and that's what this incentive is for, to basically just say, like, here, we're going to try to make this deal, so that way we still have, like, I guess, money for the people.
You mean like hidden DLC content?
We'll get to that.
I don't know. Well, before we do that, Amal, do you have anything to say about this publishing deal?
I don't know. It sure doesn't sit well in my stomach, but it's really, like Andrew said, it's really nothing in the grand scheme of things. I mean, 2.5 mil to Activision or any other large company for that matter is like pocket change. So I don't know. I don't really have thoughts on it one way or the other. The amount of money isn't the part that's alarming, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, because if it was an indie company that basically just started out and their game did bad, but the game had, like, I guess it's slow in the beginning but really good in the long run, that would have sucked for them a lot.
True, absolutely.
I don't know. I think $2.5 million is a big deal. Like, even for a big developer like Bungie, like, that's kind of, like, I don't know. Even if it broke down to like $10,000 per employee, that's
right?
still,
but it's just a bonus, though. They're not losing the money.
No. It's not like they're gaining it. It's a punishment. If they fulfill it, nothing happens. It's considered a quote unquote bonus because they're not losing.
It's part of the contract agreement, basically.
Yeah. No, 2.5 is like it's basically a punishment for the company for not meeting the required rating.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand.
But even if they have a completely livable salary, like, regardless, if you help this company make this super, like, the most pre-ordered game ever, like, it feels kind of unfair to you for you to be.
I agree.
Shortchanged. Like, even if it's not about the money, it's kind of like the attitude as well, I think. But still, like, if someone was like, hey, that $10,000, you're just not going to get it, that would be for anybody.
Right. It's the principle that bothers me as well, in that sense. Like, this deal itself, it gives me a crappy feeling in my stomach, not literally. So it's I guess that's all I really have to say on that. Money is, whether there's a lot of it or not, it's not something that is a good thing to do for any publisher-developer relationship, basically.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate that it's just, someone is out there, building. It's either rushing or snowballing. It's like Titanfall.
Absolutely.
Titanfall has rave reviews, but look at its user base now, and I guarantee you,
Right.
Destiny's gonna have a much bigger user base in the same amount of time Destiny has passed over.
Right.
So I mean, uh, it's hard. It's really hard to judge these things, and I think there should be I think with the ever-changing market of video game nowadays, with the amount of variety, there kind of needs to be some kind of new, I guess, regulation, as you can call it. Not necessarily just a straight cut percentage, but um, I don't know. It's a very complicated area.
You don't want to under legislate it. You don't want to over legislate it, but at the same time, you're going down a slippery slope if you start that too, right?
Yeah.
You being like a publisher or whoever.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I think
So.
if something like deals like this were more common, where like you make 1%, your developer also makes like 5% of game sales up to $2.5 million for like this Bungie thing. I think that would make me feel better in terms of um, like fairness. Like I don't, because like we said,
Right.
like review numbers isn't exactly the best parameter of quality sometimes. Like you can have like a really fun game that's kind of like Earth Defense Force. I think is a good example of like a game that's not super polished, not super like high end, but it's really fun to play with friends.
Sorry, what game?
Earth Defense Force.
Like Earth Defense Force, like that was like an old Xbox game.
Oh, okay. Earth
It was
Defense
like-
Force. Something.
Yeah, something. It's pretty,
Deadliest Warrior.
something like that. I can't remember.
Neat.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
really-
game.
Yeah, it's everyone sort of knows it when they see it. It's like it was like a fun like co-op, like you get together with your friends. It's like really fun.
This looks like fun, but I don't know what this is, unfortunately.
I don't know. And there are other games that are like 7 or 8s, but might be like your personal favorite game. I don't know.
Yeah, I understand though.
Yeah. And sorry for throttling or pushing you back on that segue, Uraz, but here we go back into it. Destiny bug review reveals expansion DLC. So apparently, there was a bug that was encountered in Destiny that basically revealed a DLC. Basically new story missions, new kind of strike, what raid. I don't even know what all this means. It's all Destiny terminology to me. But Andrew, Uraz, have you guys looked into it? Do you guys know it a bit better than I do?
Yeah. So,
Go ahead.
Andrew.
Well, it just seems like someone sort of found like a bug where it listed like names for different missions and stuff. And I think originally people were worried it was like on-disc stuff, the on-disc DLC. But a bunch of people, PR people, have said like it's not. It's just sort of like code for future, like some of the planned DLC, but it's not like in the game yet. Just like the names are. That's what I'm told. That's what I've read.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting because most of not all the reviews, a lot of the reviews comment on how fragmented and how much the storyline doesn't make any sense. And if it would add up that maybe Bungie didn't put certain parts of the storyline in so that they could include it in the DLC, obviously to make more money, at the cost of making the storyline more difficult to follow, or like breaking it up. So that doesn't sit well with me personally, because it doesn't let you get into the game as much when the story doesn't make any sense at all, and when it's obvious that they're gearing the storyline towards the DLC. They're omitting certain things so that they can tell it to you later. It's annoying. So I don't like that they do that. That doesn't sit well with me. Yeah. So if they were to make DLC that adds on to the story, sure, yeah, okay, fine. But if they take things out of the story that kind of breaks it, or loses its flow, I guess you could say, then they're really hurting it more than they're really just going for the money, and I don't like that.
Yeah, I can see that perspective. I mean, something similar to Mass Effect 3, something similar of that effect, where in an actual much worser case, the DLC was already built into the game. It was a matter of an activation code that would just activate that DLC.
Right.
So I mean, like I can see where that's coming from. Allegedly, the DLC is not there, and I can kind of partially believe it. Like I could imagine that maybe the map is server generated, perhaps,
Nah,
rather than
I'm,
client side stuff. That's technical
I'm a
stuff.
biology major, so that's words that literally were just blibbity blah blah for a second. Like,
So what do you think, Andrew? How do you feel about this news?
I don't know. It's like to me, I think it was less like the story concerns for me actually have more to do. I think when Destiny was originally like announced and a lot of some of the core planning happened, like second screen was a big deal. Like that was the E3, like yeah, I think it was around the E3 where what's it called, the Division and like all these other games were announced where like oh there'll be an app on your tablet or your phone and you can do all this blah blah blah. There's actually a lot of story content in like Grimoire cards, which is stupid because now you have to like go to their website. But DLC is always interesting for me because sometimes I just don't care about it. I don't know. I have like no coherent thoughts about this because it's like
I,
there's
I see
very
what you're saying in terms of, yeah, and that's the other thing, like we don't care about it.
yeah
Maybe more people would care about it if they actually had a decent story at the beginning to
yeah
get you hooked on it, where you're like, oh, I want to find out more, and okay, this makes sense. Okay, I'm probably gonna buy the DLC to find out what happens next. Not, oh, I have no idea what the hell is going on. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna ignore the story. I don't give a shit anymore.
mhm.
And then, ooh, DLC comes out with more storyline things. Who cares? Um, Maybe for the map, they'll probably throw in a couple of maps or something. I don't know. Maybe people get it for that, but not for the story, really.
Yeah, see, the thing is, some people, the way developers have been making DLC lately, I feel like they've forgotten how to do it properly. Like, see, what I mean by that is, okay, let's look at it from Mass Effect 3. Um, the the one involving the, I, is it
Prothean.
Prothean? I almost said Promethean, and
Oh,
I'm just
God.
like,
No, that's a bad Ridley Scott movie.
no, it's also Halo.
Oh yeah, that too.
But anyways, yeah, basically
Oh,
the one including the Prothean, that's not how you do DLC, because that for the most part adds to the story content. What's DLC,
More or
and
less
I still have,
crucial, yeah.
and what I still haven't played it yet because I'm finding a good time for me to kind of finish my Mass Effect 2 save so I can play this properly. Citadel,
yeah, I've
that's
heard.
the DLC.
Yep.
That is DLC done properly. So like
And to
the
add on to
different,
that,
huh?
and to add on as well, another thing that was done well for DLC is Battlefield 2 Vietnam.
Yeah.
That was DLC done right as well.
Oh yeah.
Because it it feels like the money you spent was worth it. You're paying for something, you're like, oh wow, you're blown away. Okay, it was worth it. You tell yourself, yeah, it was worth it. Whereas some other DLC where they just throw in a couple maps, a couple character skins, whatever, you pay like so much, and you're like, oh, what did I just get here? You feel duped.
Yeah,
And in EA's case for Hardline, Battlefield Hardline, you're paying full price for a brand new game when it should be like it's pretty much a DLC, and you're paying full price. So
Yeah.
so there are people who know how to do it right, and there's people who don't know how to do it right, but people still keep paying, so they're gonna keep doing it the wrong
Money
way.
talks, right?
Yeah.
yeah. The thing is, you can get away with that in movies, and that's why, like like when you see like when they release a movie, they can release like a prequel or something,
Oh.
like Star Wars, for instance. Like the whole entire episodes 1 to 3, like it's just like, here's what happened in the beginning, because we kept hinting it in the 4, 5, and 6 movies. I actually rewatched it they were asking for prequels. There were so many like I didn't notice until my girlfriend pointed it out. They were just like, "Oh, I remember the old days." Or like, "Do you remember the old war?" And like they were
Talk
always
about
like,
the Clone Wars.
"Yeah, they always talk about it." And my
Right.
girlfriend was just like, "They were just asking for prequels. Why are people so mad?" And I'm just like, "Because let's not talk about that." But yeah, no, like it's done in movies, but I feel like it can't be done in games. More so with the fact that stories should be completed and then supplement the story rather than
I agree.
complete the story.
They shouldn't.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. Yeah, they shouldn't. Yeah, they shouldn't be parts of the story added on in the middle or something. You should have your complete story and then add on to it. I agree with
Yeah. On the topic of Destiny, I actually heard a very interesting theory regarding the Guardians. I don't know if you guys heard it yet, but I heard that the Guardians are apparently the bad guys.
What?
Did not hear about
Spoilers.
Huh?
Yeah, I have no idea.
No,
Well,
it's not something.
haven't-
It's not something in the story. It's something that's kind of like, so basically the travel. This is just all conspiracy theory. I don't know anything about the story, so like, but basically, the Traveler is like mind controlling the people that are there to basically go out and fight. So in essence, the Guardians are actually the darkness, and
Oh.
you're just kind of like traveling to different planets and screwing these people over.
Yeah, I think I read that was like original story. Like some dude he posted on Reddit. He was like, I played like a early like pre-alpha build of like the story, and it was like very different than what it was released. And he's like, I think they just changed the story. Like he had a completely different campaign
Oh,
when he played it than what it was released.
maybe it's just a twist.
I was
Maybe.
gonna say it's wholly possible that it wasn't received well by the pre-screeners or whatever,
Yeah.
and they ended up completely like changing it up.
Nobody likes finding out they're the bad guys. That's what I've
That's
realized.
what I'm saying. Yeah.
Nobody ever likes that. I wonder why.
Hey man, what's it called? Fuck. What's the name of that game that's like that we've played a bunch of times? The War.
That's a spoiler.
Okay.
That's a spoiler.
We already talked about this.
Thanks
Like,
a lot, man.
Shh.
Okay,
Destiny
okay,
is a
okay.
conspiracy. The one I just pointed out is a conspiracy theory. The one you just pointed out is a spoiler.
I didn't say anything. I just said the name
Yes,
of the
you
game.
did.
Make your own conclusions.
Oh
I should have said spoiler alert and then just.
No, what you should have done is after he said the shooting game in the war game in the desert, you should have said we're not going to say the name of the game. 'Cause right now,
Oh,
it's
now I
any
feel
war
completely-
game ever.
Oh damn it! All
I
right.
didn't ask for the. Okay, I did ask for the name of the game. My bad. It's okay.
I will put spoiler alerts tags wherever I can.
Go play that game. That game is great.
That game is great.
Not
Whether it's been-
not as great if you just watched
No.
the clip of
It's
30
pretty
seconds
fucking great.
ago.
You know what? I accidentally spoiled myself too. It's just pretty fucking great game either way.
Anyway,
that's besides the point. That's besides the point.
all right, let's move on.
Edit that part out. Just
I
edit it out.
profusely apologize to the whole
Oh,
internet.
you know what? I will edit it out. You know what? I'll just edit it
Aw.
out, and people will just be like talking about it. They're like, "What game are they talking about?"
Good guy Justin.
Oh, okay. Just leave it at that. Sure.
Yeah. All right.
It's like as soon as he asks what game are they talking about, then it just goes to black.
it just goes black. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
And
And we're
like,
talking.
And we're back.
We're
Because
basically no.
Wargaming-
The thing is, we'll be talking about the fact that we edited it out the entire time, and they still won't even know.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're
that's
welcome. Justin edits all these, so thank him for people who potentially had that spoiled.
Anyways,
Yeah.
people are
DLC.
claiming to be popular YouTubers to get free games.
Yeah, I heard about that.
The article needs absolutely no explanation. I mean, the title pretty much encompasses what's being said. I wonder if there's stats.
I actually read a post on it. It was basically this guy he's like an indie developer, early access, and he got emails from a whole bunch of people claiming to be YouTubers and stuff. And then he was like happy to like give these keys away, give more exposure for his game. But then he found that like his game Steam keys were being sold online at like random websites for like $15. He's like, that's weird. It shouldn't be that low for this game. Like, we're pretty sure we price matched everything and blah blah blah. Turns out it's like people asking for these Steam keys selling them like for really cheap.
Dang.
And then he actually like did the same thing to other developers to sort of test out how easy it is. And he like did some math and like he got like $400 worth of Steam keys in like 3 hours, he said.
Wow.
He gave them all back. He was like, by the way, I'm another developer. And
So
watch out
actually,
for
yeah, I'm
this.
reading the article a bit deeper now. I'm kind of highlighting it on the website. So as it turns out, the developer kind of figured out that roughly 70% of the keys that were given out were
Mhm.
taken under false pretenses. Wow.
Which sucks.
So, wow, that is really bad.
Yeah, especially because it's a lot of like people like because the way he talked about it is like it's kind of my fault. I wasn't paying attention, but I also have a game to develop, and I answer like 150 emails a day, so it's like pretty easy for like a small team with no PR department for this to happen.
Yeah.
He was just talking about like that kind of stuff. It was like a really honest, like transparent letter, which I
Can't
appreciate.
you just go to their YouTube channel? to
Yeah,
see if
like it's
is it really that hard?
like it
I
doesn't
don't
take
understand.
that long.
I mean,
But the
if you
problem
really
is like you
cared
can
about exposure, you can just go to Twitch and just give keys away on Twitch to people.
Yeah,
if you
like
really
that's what
cared.
he was talking. He was talking like, and now that he knows, like going forward, he's like, I'm going to probably ask people to use like to talk to him through YouTube, the messenger system, because then because you could still be like, oh, like I'm this Russian guy with 50K subs, but he has no idea because a lot of YouTubers apparently don't have like a contact email, like information, uh, like their business contact information, so he can't even double check the email address. He just has to be like,
So don't give them the key if it's that
Right.
hard. It's not. It's not. It's this is surprising to me that a developer would do that. I mean, I don't think it should be that hard to prove whether you're someone. Hey, do you have a Twitter account? Oh, you don't. Oh, that's strange. You have 50,000 subs and no Twitter. Okay, what's your YouTube account? Can you post something from there? It's not too hard to do that, but I I I find this really strange that people actually fall for it.
Yeah, I thought this was more better regulated than it actually was. If
And I
this was
mean,
the
if
case, I would have really pushed I would have just said, "Hey, I'm on YouTube and I really want to play some games. Give me keys."
yeah. I don't know, like the way he explained it, it kind of made sense to me. He's like, if you're just like a three-man team and you're answering 100 to 200 emails a day, like, and you're part of like a 9-hour, 12-hour workday, like those things can slip through the cracks, especially if
Yeah.
you're not thinking like, oh, like these are malicious people, because that what didn't cross his mind at all when he
and
first did it.
and you know what? If they really care about that, there's already, Humble has already got around this issue because what used to happen was during Humble sales, in the beginning, they gave you keys when you bought the Humble bundle. And what ended up happening was all these Russian and Chinese sites were buying the keys for cheap and reselling them at a higher rate.
Oh my
So what,
God.
so what did Humble do? Instead of giving you the key, you got to log in with your Steam account to apply it to your Steam account. So
Is that why they were doing that
problem solved.
now? Oh
Sort
my
of,
God, I
Yeah,
didn't know
they never
that.
used to do that. When Humble started bundles, they used to give you the actual
Yeah.
key, and
Yeah,
they used
yeah,
those
yeah, I
keys
remember
to
that
get
much, yeah.
resold. And then to get around that, I guess they work with Steam. So I'm sure Steam has a feature where, in order to use, you can provide somebody with a link to activate a game with their Steam account
Yeah, it's all in
instead
the
of
Steam
giving them the
API.
keys direct.
I'm sure you
So,
can.
so there are ways around this. So I still,
Yeah.
it's kind of strange, if that
Yeah, but
happens.
dude, they're not using it anymore though. They switched back.
No, they didn't.
If I go to my
just saw it.
humblebundle.com thing, I can see all my Steam keys right there. It's like
Right, but
including my
that
new ones.
those are like way before it was implemented though.
Are
Oh,
those
dude.
way before? No,
Well,
but
when
those.
was the last time you bought a Humble Bundle though?
2 or 3 bundles ago, I think. And they implemented
they-
the Steam one back in Humble Bundle 6.
No, but how did you activate them? Did you click on copy paste the key into
Yeah.
Steam, or did you click on the link? Because it doesn't show you the key until you click on activate. And
Yeah.
once you've activated it, then it shows the key. So you need
Maybe
to log
that's
into.
it then.
You click on So there, it's graded out. You click on the link. It asks you to log into your Steam,
Yeah.
and then it applies to your account. And when you go back to your Humble account, since it's already activated, you can see the key. It's yours. But you can't share that key anymore. And
Yeah.
even if you gift it, it'll send the person a link. It won't
Yeah, and
send
that's a
receipt.
humble bundle link too. It's not even like a.
Yeah, that I know
Yeah,
because I did do
so
that a couple times as well.
so I
But
mean, if this was really a bigger problem, I'm sure Steam or somebody would have a solution around this for sending people or reviewers links to the thing, and obviously they can't resell it then.
Yeah.
It
So
yeah,
problem solved.
it just sucks, and I think we just
Yeah.
need more awareness for those who are just early out developers to kind of just watch out and be aware of that there are people who are very interested in your game, but also equally malicious. Because I mean, like for the most part, if you're like a 3-man team, like Andrew was pointing out,
Yeah.
having anyone kind of say, "I'm interested in playing your game. It's free advertising for you. What could possibly go wrong?" And it's like, okay, sounds like it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, like I think this guy, like the way he words his letter, he wasn't even thinking about like, oh, could these guys be? He was just like, oh yeah, of course, like I'll share my game with you. Like it wasn't even like I think now he's like now that he has it in his mind, like it's very pretty simple to like there's like apparently there's like a website for developers and YouTubers to contact and like share like information so that they verify and there's like so it's like there's a lot of ways to solve this problem. I think he was just talking about his experience and he was like I didn't even think about it, and it sucks that there will always be people that try to take advantage of stuff,
Always, always.
which we do not endorse. Be good people. Be good unicorns.
Yeah, we're just gonna buy our games and talk about them. We're not gonna try to get them anywhere for free, because we're completely unsponsored, unbiased, and
Get them
unfunded.
for cheap, but not for free.
Yeah.
Very
Can you imagine if we
Please.
emailed one, like a developer, like we have a viewership of 3 unicorns, so we have pretty good. Like what the?
Do you want to just send it to a few developers just to let's try that. We have an official email. At least at least we have that going for us. It's not a Gmail.
We do.
yeah, we have like 6 emails, man.
We-
All questions in one.
We're very busy.
we'll
We're a
have a
very big
curator.
organization.
We'll have a
Speaking
curator
of big
page.
organizations,
Segue.
Sega.
What?
EA promises that Battlefield Hardline will work at launch.
Oh yeah.
If you haven't figured it out,
Yay, it'll
EA is the
work.
big company that I'm alluding to. So before I continue this, have any of you guys played Hardline yet?
I haven't.
I saw you play it.
I couldn't get into that beta.
I don't think I
I've
could either.
boycotted Battlefield 4. I will not purchase it because I'm not giving EA my money for what they've been doing. So I've stopped at 3. I'm not going any further. There's no way, unless you give it to me for free, there's no way I'm paying EA money for that game. I'm sorry. I'm speaking with my wallet. So
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah.
fair.
and yeah, and that's that for me. So I have not played it now.
Watched you play it, Justin, because I couldn't join you for the beta. I missed like the 3 days that I had.
Actually, I did
man.
play the beta. I did play the beta with you guys. Remember?
Oh yeah. What do you think then?
During the beta, it was fun. It was fun, but it was just Battlefield. It wasn't anything innovative. I mean, yeah, you gotta steal shit, whateber.
I mean, the
I
game
was
mode
just
is pretty
there-
innovative.
I mean, what do you do in Battlefield? You're just going for kills, really. I had the most fun in the chopper with Dominic.
Yeah,
much.
yeah, but I mean, like it's
Stealing shit. And that's pretty much you can do it in any Battlefield game. You can have that same fun. At least that's what that was my objective when I was playing it. I actually didn't follow any of the game modes. I didn't care.
you are probably enemy number 1.
Yeah, I'm that guy that snipes people. You know, that just
You're
sits
you're
there
that
and
guy nobody
people-
likes in Battlefield.
Nobody likes. Yeah, I'm that guy that nobody likes. Who's not doing the objective. Hey, I get a lot of kills and I help and I spot. So they have that going for me. So at least I spot, guys. At least I spot.
Yes, that is true. I actually really enjoyed the game mode, but I mean, like it was a combination of capture the no King of the Hill, not kind of no.
Steal the monies.
It's more
Steal the
so.
money.
It was more so.
Steal the monies and run like hell.
It was capture the flag, except you didn't bring it to your own base. It's like you basically pick up the money and you bring it to a drop point twice. And for the most part, it was kind of cool the way they implemented it. I mean, they had the elevators going on, they had zip lines. It was a very fun and elaborate cops and robbers.
I also like that when someone, like in the footage I've seen, when someone has the money bag, and they're like on a motorcycle or something, money just flies out of the bag.
Yeah.
And I like to imagine, like, at this heist, they're like, oh, finally, we got away from these super cops with, like, these super weapons. Look, nothing left.
These big armored tanks, and there's like,
Yeah.
it's like this huge mafia of like 18 people are like robbing this one armored truck, and then two armored trucks, and like the cops
These
are
aren't the cops. These are, like, military cops.
they're basically military cops with like mercenaries. That's what they're up against. And like it's actually kind of what I actually kind of like is you know the knifing sequence in Battlefield? If you're using a baton, you actually arrest the person instead of knifing them, which I found was pretty cool.
I did not get that close to a person. Like I said, I'm the sniper, so I never got to baton anyone.
And I felt the game was a lot more close ranged.
Yeah, it was. It was very difficult to snipe in that game.
Yeah,
Very difficult.
yeah, and the angle for sniping when you're on top of a building is, it's
was
just not
so
as
hard.
plausible. Like you were more likely as a sniper from one building to the next. I saw a lot of people. There's a spot that there was a helipad, and like
Yeah.
a lot of people would just be sniped like right across the other building, just sniping
Yeah.
the robbers as they're trying to make the helipad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
And-
talking about the game and the level design in that game, it was actually pretty good for the most
It's
part.
very, you know what? Yeah, like you mentioned, close quarters. So for people like me who like sniping, it wasn't very fun for us. But I can see how they're going towards the more fast-paced game modes where it's close quarters, fast combat, people dying all the time, versus the typical Battlefield formula where it's a large battlefield and fights are prolonged over a long period of time.
And actually, the screenshot that I'm showing in the Polygon article is basically a trailer from their latest a section of their trailer, which is basically what appears to be them racing through a bunch of things and the cops trying to shoot them. I didn't quite understand it. It looked kind of interesting. Did you guys watch it?
No, I did not.
Okay. If I remember correctly, it looked like street racing, except the cops were like shooting the shit out of the robbers. Like it was, I was really confused. Maybe it's another variation of like smuggling, which I could kind of
Yeah.
see that, where it's just like there's this huge wide map, and the robbers have to make from point A to point B, while the cops are constantly spawning and trying to like kill them along the way. Some kind of elaborate of what is that called? Oh my god, that name escapes me. Ugh, that game mode. It's not Conquest.
What are you talking about?
The Battlefield game mode where you basically kind of just keep going.
Blimmer
Rush.
Jam.
Sorry, what?
What did you say, Andrew?
Blimmer Jam.
I said Rush, but I'm definitely wrong
Yes,
on that.
Rush.
It is Rush.
Yes.
You don't keep going. There's points. Once you get them
Yeah.
all, you win.
No. But what I'm saying is, once you reach that end of the point, you go to the next section, and then you go to the next
you
section.
keep
going.
advancing. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's right.
Yes, I
It's
remember
been the
that
case since
game.
like Battlefield 2, man.
Yeah, so like I mean, Rush could exist in the sense that like instead of like fighting to that point, now it's just you driving to that point or trying to get to that point.
Um,
But it's the map's a lot bigger, and there's cars and everything. Obviously, it's gonna be like a scene from Fast and Furious.
But the
Yeah.
funny part about this news article isn't that if the game will be any good or not. DICE is a talented
Yeah.
developer. They're just like EA's like, we promise the game will function. Button,
Something.
your computer doesn't crash, screen tearing doesn't happen,
For some reason,
rate doesn't go to 2. Like,
when was EA's last successful multiplayer game release?
Battlefield 3? Bad Company 2?
I think Bad Company 2,
I
I'd
think
say.
Bad Company 2.
I don't know how far we want to go back.
I'd say that's as far as
Did Battlefield 3 have a bad launch?
I can't remember.
Well, Battlefield 3 was an Origin, and Origin had a bad quote unquote.
You know what?
Yeah.
100% agreed with you on that one. I had
think
so
so.
much trouble launching Battlefield
Yeah.
3 games.
So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
there was a lot of issues with Origin. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's related to Battlefield, maybe it's not. But Battlefield 3 was when they switched from Steam to Origin.
Yes. Well,
So-
they switched from standalone to Origin, but yeah,
Standalones.
because the game maker was within Battlefield, not within Steam. But yeah, anyway.
Right. Yeah. Right. But it was available on Steam. Yeah.
So, like, it's.
I just want to say one more thing about Hardline, and I'm not a big fan of EA moving away from the Battlefield formula, meaning making sense. When you think about Battlefield, you think about war, you think about, you think about real life fighting, and then now they're moving to this weird cops and robbers. Like, that doesn't happen every day. That's not realistic, quote unquote. I'll put that in quotes because obviously Battlefield tries to aim to be realistic in some sense, but it's not. So I like the realistic formula, even though they have done Battlefields where it's, I think they did Battlefield 24, I don't remember the name.
Oh, 2022, I think.
2022 or something like that, where it was futuristic, but it was still awesome.
Oh, that was pretty great.
Oh, 2042,
Yeah,
my
so-
bad, yeah.
So they're following that formula. I mean, you can only take that so much.
2142.
I can see 2142. I can see where you can only take that so far, and they want to try something different to appeal to the. Okay, I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, COD fans.
Hey! Hey!
Nice.
But I didn't like their move to the unrealistic side of things, the very unrealistic side of things.
I actually I'm gonna come from a different perspective from here. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna buy Hardline, but I actually like what they're doing in the sense that they're willing to take risks on franchises. Because it's gone to a point that, Command and Conquer isn't the best best example, but I'm going to have to use it, unfortunately.
Mhm.
Command and Conquer does a lot of different things. What if you want something that's realistic, you can play Generals. If you want something futuristic, you can play Tiberian Wars.
Yep.
If you want something that's just silly, Red Alert. That's basically what.
Now at least.
Samurai warrior machine thing.
Like it's.
Yo, those were awesome.
But like what
the
I'm saying
core
is
of the
that
game
like.
is
But the core of the
it's
game is still more or less been the same, and that's what I think Hardline is trying to do. It's like, yes, it's still within the Battlefield doesn't even have a same universe. For every game that there is, it is its own universe.
Yeah.
So
BF,
like it's
Bad Company is completely different from BF2 and
exactly
3.
exactly.
That company is so good. So
So-
fun.
So like it's not hard for me to see, Battlefield they want to try something different so that, people who still enjoy the Battlefield experience, Battlefield 4 is available to them, and they're updating it constantly, and there's still DLC coming out for it. So it's still there, it's still being relatively refreshed, while Hardline will try to make like a segue to kind of do something different. It's almost
Sure.
like they kind of want to break out of their, constantly just because if Battlefield keeps this up, the best they can do is just make new maps, make new models, and it's just going to be the same iterations over and over again without much innovation, unless new engine. So now it basically becomes like the next Crisis. The purpose of the game is more or less to show off the engine rather than just show off any kind of new innovative gameplay.
Right.
If anybody enjoyed Crisis, my apologies. For the record, I enjoyed Crisis 2 a lot.
It was decent.
3 not so
on the
much.
other hand,
It was an upside down parabola. 1, 2,
Oh.
3.
yeah.
But and 3 was very low, by the way. But anyways, yeah, like I can kind of see like where you're coming from, Uraz. Like you kind of expect to see new innovative methodologies of Battlefield, and that's perfectly fine, and I understand where that's coming from. But Battlefield, to a certain point, if they are going to go with yearly releases, as well, Okay, if they're gonna go with bi-yearly releases because Hardline is no longer coming out this year, they're going to have to kind of switch things up a bit better than COD did. Let's put it that way.
It's true.
So like to have like Hardline kind of be like the close quarters kind of more themed based kind of Battlefield, or maybe they'll Hardline 2, Hardline 3. Who knows? Maybe it'll turn into like its own series.
That's not a bad point. Like you
Yeah.
mentioned, like Bad Company is sort of an old thing, like regular because it's not Battlefield 5 Hardline. It's Battlefield Hardline.
Yeah.
It could break off into its own like sub franchise. That's true. That's
Yeah.
a good point.
So like we don't know anything about Hardline, and I guarantee it, depending on the success or failure of Hardline, is basically the future of Dice / Visceral experimenting on this. There could be a good chance that if this has a really good reception, there's a good chance that Hardline may turn it into like Hardline 2, Hardline 3. It's basically another Bad Company to me. Now that I think about it, it's just not another. No. Let's put it this way. It's a different variation of what Bad Company did in the sense that it's just kind of spinning off and doing its own thing, just to kind of keep things fresh. And then if it kind of dies down, then just die down, and then we'll see where that goes.
I
Right.
hope that I hope you're right about that. I hope they're just going on a tangent for now, like Bad Company, and maybe it'll die off, maybe it won't, like you said. Maybe it will become awesome. But I hope the next Battlefield 5, if they come back to the main Battlefield, what when you say Battlefield, that picture in your head. I hope they come back to that and they do like a remake of 2142.
You know
Like-
what? At
like
the end of the day, you just
futuristic
want
Battlefield.
at the end of the day, you don't even
With-
care if it's it's a new game. You just want a remake of 2142.
All right, you got me. 2142 with- I want spaceships. I want Titans. I want like freaking laser beams.
Someone
Sharks with laser beams on their head.
I was well. I mean, there's Battlefront for you there. I mean, it's
It's Halo.
Mm,
you could play Battlefront. Someone got me really excited. They were like, "Oh, I want Dice to basically make Levolution, where you're playing on a planet and like the level evolves by like a capital ship crashing into the planet." Oh my god!
imagine.
Oh my god!
What
That
if,
would be
what if halfway
insane.
through a Death Star just comes and blows up the whole level?
Oh, jeez.
That's
my
not
God.
cool, man.
And halfway through someone goes, "Oh, look, the moon's getting bigger."
They're gonna
That's no
need
moon.
for all those
Oh my
partic-
God.
like all those particle physics and processing. They're gonna need a lot of power.
Yo, Andrew,
Although-
Andrew, think about this: a space battle that's happening with the Death Star in the background, and you're like near a planet, and then the Death Star activates and blows the planet. Asteroids are flying everywhere, and like there's a good chance you might get hit. Your capital ship like loses all of its
Oh,
shield
man.
as a result.
Are you still playing as infantry though, or what?
No, you're a pilot. This is space
Okay,
battle.
you're actually a pilot. That but it's no longer okay. It's completely inconceivable.
Or no.
Here we go.
Okay, you're basically Battlefront at this point is a land space battle.
Oh, jeez.
Like, so if you're a land, you're just insta-gibbed.
I got
If you're
another
space,
idea
you still have a chance to survive, depending on how good you are at flying. Either the fighter has obviously a much better chance than like a capital ship, because let's be honest here, how good are you at dodging? Unless you like full power to shields or whatever, but not at the same time, then
Justin.
you're just gonna lose all your shields and then.
How do you like this next Battlefield? Battlefield Galactica. How do you like the sound of that? It's
Well, I mean-
totally space warfare. You have like freaking battle stars. You have like you can fly like spaceships and shit. Like, how about that? How about that? You like that? No?
I've been waiting for a space sim for so long.
Battlefield Galactica. I
There's
think
Star
it's-
Citizen, there's Battlefront, and there's technically Planetary Annihilation, which is basically what you're saying, Justin, except you control the units, you're not the unit.
Yeah, it's just an RTS version of what I'm describing.
Yeah, basically, because you can literally launch asteroids at people. That's kind of fucking cool.
Same with Sins of a Solar Empire.
True.
So EA,
Well, didn't play it personally,
I hope
but
you're
Free
listening.
money again.
EA, I hope you're listening to this because we are basically telling you, this is how you make money.
Yeah.
One of these days, I hope to Basically, a big fat check to the Casual Nerdcast. Actually, no, we won't take it because we're unsponsored.
No,
Uh,
no.
just-
If Battlefield's land space Battlefront gets a 9 or higher, then we get $2.5 million. If it doesn't,
Sounds
I-
good.
we get
I-
nothing.
As a result of using our idea, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I like the idea of the land space battle. If the planet explodes, but you died as an infantry, you just respawn in space and die over again.
Wow.
Like you don't spawn in a ship, you just spawn on the ground. But there's
That
none.
sounds a bit too cruel. Just a bit.
Yeah.
That's pretty much me when I
spawn,
play Counter Strike.
You basically spawn on one of the asteroid rocks, depending on where you were.
I want Battlefield to go back to space, to the future. I really do.
Well, go play
I might-
Battlefront, because that's gonna.
Yeah,
That'll
but
be cool.
we'll see. We'll try
It's
Battlefront.
space
Maybe
battle
it's
with like a lore. That's basically
No,
what it
Rogue
is.
It's a Rogue Squadron reboot. That game was freaking
Ooh, that was a
awesome.
fun game.
I played all of them.
Those skins are so good.
Rogue Squadron, Rogue Leader, Rebel Strike.
Yeah. I like how this chain went from games shouldn't be broken to, man, I just want a Star Wars game.
Yeah.
Well, all that matters in the end.
So basically, if you haven't figured it out yet, we are big fans of sci-fi. So EA, if you want our money on day one, you know what to do.
Well. Here's the problem. They're not going to be catering to us, man. We're the quote unquote aging gamers. Remember?
That's true.
The what? Sorry?
The
The
aging
aging
gamer,
gamer.
Ah, yeah.
where they're going for the 18 and under age group.
Basically, game publishers at this point are pedophiles.
Oh,
Jeez.
All right, shots fired. Yeah. They're not going to sponsor you now.
Yeah, I don't expect it. Anyways,
Yeah,
thank you for watching this far. If you were an employee of a publisher, I am sorry. Please don't unsubscribe.
the precious one unicorn.
But to the rest of you, thank you for watching this far. We basically want you to be as happy as we are. Please like and subscribe. Please comment if you have any suggestions about the podcast. As usual, if you have any suggestions about what we should talk about, don't hesitate to Facebook, Twitter us, etc. Can be found in the link below. I think that's about it. Oh, what else? Nope, that's about it. I was gonna mention something about the YouTube videos and the Casual Nerdcast, but we haven't done anything yet in a while. So we'll deal with that on another day on that front. But yeah, I think that's about it. So that says farewell. Farewell to our unicorns.
All three of them.
All three of them. And our moms. Hi, Mom.
I
Good
don't know
night.
what.